It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.
Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, the DiamondKShow.com. RadioOnFire.com, OnFire-TV.com. So much to get into, so much to talk about. Happy Monday to everybody. A lot of things going on behind the scenes here, so that is what delayed me today. Of course, we're able to deliver our news and our take on the news because of our listeners and, of course, our sponsors. It is so important to have true independent voices dissecting what's happening in the world today. And there's so much going on. To help keep us on the air and support the movement, onfire-tv.com/support. So, as I said, hope y'all had a great weekend. The debacle that is Donald Trump and his followers continue to, I don't know. I don't even want to say amaze me, but police, according to police, a man killed himself after ramming the U.S. Capitol barrier. This happened over the weekend. A man drove his car, a Trump supporter, drove his car into the barricade near the U.S. Capitol yesterday. And then he began firing shots, right? He began licking shots in the air before fatally shooting himself. He did not seem to be targeting a member of Congress, but this is not the first Trump supporter that has just gone, I don't know, crazy is doing that. So this incident happened just before 4 a.m., and it was at a vehicle barricade set at the East Capitol Street Northeast and 2nd Street Southeast in Washington, D.C. So this comes at a time when law enforcement authorities across the country are facing an increased number of threats. Federal officials have warned about the potential of violent attacks on government buildings. And this is coming from the law and order people. This is coming from the folks who claim that they support the police. This is coming from the folks that were downing folks that were saying defund the police. Now they're saying defund the FBI. You talk about hypocrisy. Oh, they were throwing people under the bus, talking about you want to defund the police. And now these Trump supporters, these enablers at the Republican Party are saying defund the FBI. Yeah, that's right. That's where things are with regards to hypocrisy. You know, saying one thing and doing something else. Yeah. This attack reminds me of an incident where a man drove a vehicle into 2 Capitol police officers at a checkpoint last year, killing an 18-year veteran of the force. Many on Capitol Hill remain on edge after supporters of this former president, the then president, stormed the Capitol January 6th, right? Y'all remember that. So, of course, the authorities have identified the man. He is Richard A. York III, 29 years old, of Delaware. So he crashed his car into the barricade. As he was getting out of the car, the vehicle became engulfed in flames. The man then opened fire, firing several shots as police approached. Capitol Police say that the man shot himself as the officers neared. So, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take before Trump supporters ditch this guy. This comes at as I said, this comes at a time when law enforcement across the country are facing these threats. Why? Because the big baby, the ex-president, has just been crying since the FBI searched his home in Florida. And they had just cause to do that. They had just cause to do that. But what we have is Donald Trump and his enablers continuing to move the goalpost. You say one thing, you do that, and then they change it, right? And then they change it. But as you well know, supporting Donald Trump does not pay. Donald Trump is a loser. Supporting him does not pay. His, I don't know, we're going to call him his attorney, his former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, is now the target of a criminal investigation into possible illegal attempts by then President Donald Trump and others to interfere in the 2020 election in Georgia, Fulton County, Georgia. Prosecutors informed attorneys of the former New York Mayor Giuliani today. Of course, Giuliani is a very outspoken defender of Donald Trump, but he could face criminal charges from this investigation by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. The probe is inching closer to the president. Will something happen to Donald Trump? Who knows? But it is getting closer. Willis has said that she is considering calling Trump himself to testify before a special grand jury. There is a criminal defense attorney that has been hired in Atlanta. He knows that that is coming. He knows that law enforcement scrutiny is increasing and has escalated dramatically. Last week, of course, FBI searched his home as part of that investigation. And this investigation, what is it? They're looking at whether classified records were taken from the White House to Mar-a-Lago. Of course, he did that. And he's had all kind of excuses. This is that. It's this. It's that. So he's also facing a civil investigation in New York over allegations that his company, the Trump Organization, misled banks and tax authorities about the value of his assets. Oh, the rope of justice is tightening. Now, whether Trump will be caught in this rope is anybody's guess. But this is the most legal jeopardy that he has faced thus far. The Justice Department is investigating the January 6th insurrection. The aforementioned Trump supporters just running in the Capitol illegally. Trump supporters, allies, trying to overturn the election that they lie and claim was stolen. He lost the election. Giuliani, his attorney, former attorney, whatever, also spread the lies of the election fraud. He's also led election challenging efforts in Georgia. He is to testify Wednesday before a special grand jury that was impaneled at District Attorney Willis's request. Giuliani's lawyer declined to say whether he would answer questions or decline. Take a guess. Take a guess. What do you think Giuliani's going to do? On Instagram, they're saying white privilege, doubt anything happens to him. And what's sad about that is how it's been. You're right. His white privilege has been getting him out of all kind of scenarios his entire life. He failed throughout school. He paid money, pushed things through, hidden the records. Nobody can see the records. But he always wants to talk about other people's stuff. Talked about people that plead the fifth and how only a criminal pleads the fifth. And you plead the fifth, you got something to hide and blah, 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 blah. Then he does what? Pleads the fifth, hundreds of times. Pleads the fifth. Only question he answered when he was deposed was his name. Other than that, pleaded the fifth. Right? So, what's going to happen? Earlier today, a federal judge said that Senator Lindsey Graham, here's a real piece of crap. Lindsey Graham must testify before the special grand jury. Prosecutors have said that they want to ask Lindsey Graham about phone calls they say that he made to the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and his staff in the weeks following the election. Is something going to happen to Donald Trump? I don't know. But as this noose tightens, the white privilege is not going to be extended to all of these white boys. Willis's investigation was launched by the phone call, you remember, between Donald Trump and Brad Raffensperger. That was January 2021. That was the conversation where Trump suggested that Raffensperger find the votes that he needed to reverse his narrow loss in the state. When Instagram says Trump wanted to throw Hillary Clinton in prison over emails. Oh, yes, we remember that. It's so ironic, isn't it? The things that he wanted to throw Hillary Clinton in jail for, he's done much worse. Oh, he's done much worse. So if he wasn't trying to overturn the election, if he wasn't trying to just embarrass this country, he was doing actions that he clearly knows were wrong because he talked about it incessantly when they claimed that Hillary Clinton did some things, right? But what did he do? He took documents. Oh, so much documents. So he said a lot of things about that. What they claim, the locker up chants, y'all remember all of that. We don't even have to go down that road because everybody remembers that. Right? So when you hear that Trump has, done and that the DOJ is looking at the things that they are looking at, some people are just shaking their head and saying this is just another thing that he's going to get away with. Today, the Justice Department has rebuffed efforts to make public this affidavit. So many Republicans were talking about they wanted to see the affidavit, right? The affidavit. Now, this is something that is in support of the search warrant. So they had a search warrant signed by a judge saying that the investigation implicates highly classified material and the document contains sensitive information about witnesses. So there's information about witnesses. There is a what it is. I mean, because Trump's trying to roll like a mobster. There's a rat somewhere in his organization. I mean, he wants to play like he's the mob. So of course, where there's the mob, there's going to be an informant. That's how they take the mob down, through informants. So there's an informant within the Trump camp. Somebody has been saying things, which is why the FBI knew that there were other documents there. So who is this informant? They don't want to reveal this, and they say that if they make this affidavit, if they unseal this affidavit, it's going to expose who the informant is, and they want the informant to keep talking. The government's opposition came in response to court filings by several news organizations, including the Associated Press, NBC, and others, trying to get the affidavit unsealed. They want to know more information. This information will come out. But right now, the investigation is still going, so they can't release that stuff. Investigation is still going. The government told the federal judge that prosecutors believe some additional records, including the cover sheet for the warrant, the government's request to seal the documents, should now be made public. That's not going to happen right now. It's not going to happen. Now, a property receipt was unsealed on Friday, and it showed that the FBI seized 11 sets of classified documents, with some not only marked top secret, but also sensitive compartmented information, meaning some of the information was so secret that it had to be viewed in a secure location, which is not Trump's house. Now, this special category is meant to protect this country's most important secrets. And if they are revealed publicly, it could cause exceptionally grave damage to U.S. interests. The court records did not specify the details of the information, and I doubt if they're going to go in too far. When we get this information, it is going to be heavily redacted. All right, they're going to have some things crossed out. The Justice Department acknowledged today that the ongoing criminal investigation implicates highly classified material. What kind of person did we have in the White House? I think that we knew that he was scum, right? We knew that he cheated on his wife. We knew that he'd been accused of sexual assault credibly many times. We knew that he was a liar and a thief. But did we know that he was going to do some of these things? Did we know he was an insurrectionist? No, we didn't know that. It remains unclear whether the Justice Department moved forward with the warrant simply as a means to get these top secret documents back, or whether it's part of a wider criminal investigation or an attempt to prosecute Donald Trump. We don't know that yet. Multiple federal laws govern the handling of classified information, both with criminal and civil penalties, as well as presidential records. If disclosed, this affidavit would serve as a roadmap to the government's ongoing investigation, providing some details that we need. Some details. We need details. And many people want details. Hopefully we will get them. Now, Trump's all over the place. He says that the temperature has to be brought down after this search. He then, after saying that, then turns and repeats the attacks that he already said that raised the temperature initially. Trump and his aides claim to have reached out to the DOJ to offer whatever we can do to help, saying that the temperature has to be brought down. This, of course, after the spike in threats, some Trump supporters killed because they tried to do some crazy stuff. But at the same time, he's talking about taking the temperature down. Trump repeats his attacks on the FBI over the search of classified documents that were taken from his home on last week. He defended his supporters' attacks in interviews. He's saying that they're not going to stand for another scam. So on one hand, he's saying one thing, but he's doing something else. Says that people are angry at what is taking place. This guy is even pushing the limits of his white privilege. At a certain point, he may take it too far. He may take it too far. I mean, he's all over the place. A former member of his cabinet, Bolton, says that Trump's explanations show a real level of desperation. Yeah, I agree. Of course, we talked about this. A new intelligence bulletin reportedly warned of a spike in threats against federal law enforcement following the search of the president's home, Mar-a-Lago, referencing the incident on Thursday at FBI's Cincinnati field office, in which an armed man tried to breach the building and was later killed in a standoff with law enforcement. So we talk about lowering the temperature. Donald Trump has done the opposite of that. He's not lowered the temperature. He's not lowered the temperature at all. I think he's setting the stage for something else. Talking about he declassified documents, him removing them from the White House, he just they were just declassified. That's not even how the process works. His claim of declassifying the documents will not get him off the hook. There is a series of steps that must take place. On Instagram, and you are definitely telling the truth. Read this to the audience. On Instagram, it says that they will pin it on some low-level individual to be the fall guy. Isn't that how America works? You're absolutely right. That's probably what's going to happen. Donald Trump claims to have verbally declassified these sensitive records that the FBI seized from his house. What? He's crazy. Like, if he thinks that that's how this works, one of the problems that Trump has is that he's no longer president, and his possession of tangible copies, right there, tangible copies of apparently sensitive national security records implicated a host of potential legal concerns. Yeah, when he was the president, he could have that stuff. But now he's not the president. And so the issue is murky at best. But criminal cases over breaches and leaks of national security information typically require that the government prove that the information was properly classified at the time it was closely held under some sort of controlling disclosure. This is a mess, right? Ironically, if Donald Trump is charged under one of these laws, Trump might be able to cite his own cavalier handling of national security secrets as evidence that the information wasn't particularly closely held long before it was at his home. Like, he was reckless with stuff when he was in office. He's very loose-lipped when it comes to secret material. He blurts out things all the time. He did that when he was president. Now, most dangerously, he revealed highly classified information obtained from an ally, an Israeli source. He did this to the Russian foreign minister and ambassador when he hosted the two at the Oval Office back in 2017. He also thought nothing of ordering a missile strike on Syria from the patio at Mar-a-Lago, not only in the presence of Xi Jinping, but in front of a whole dinner crowd of his supporters. Turned it into just a war room. My point is that this guy is a problem. He's a problem. He's going to drag down the Republican Party. I don't really care about that. What I care about is the country. I care about the country. He can drag down the Republican Party. Y'all can rebuild it, whatever. But I think that this potentially classified information is going to be a game changer. It's going to be a game changer. If you remember in 2019, Trump tweeted out what appeared to be a spy satellite photo of an Iranian rocket that burned on the launch pad. When challenged by journalists at the time, Trump said, I have the absolute right to do it and declassify something. There are steps that you have to take. Similar statements by Trump. He's so ignorant. Declassifying documents related to foreign intelligence surveillance activities. A lot of times he said he declassified things, and then upon further scrutiny, they weren't declassified at all. Because he doesn't know anything. He's ignorant. He's ignorant. And he's too old to be this dumb. And just because he's been able to get away with things, eventually this house is going to fall. Eventually, it's going to happen. And all of his minions, all the people that I see online defending him, all of these politicians that bite their tongue and defend him on the other hand, eventually this stuff is going to come, as they say, home to roost. Eventually. And when it does, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So when they talk about this being, unprecedented, searching a former president's home, yes, it hasn't happened before. Even a scumbag like Nixon didn't have the FBI at his home rummaging around, right? And he's a real scumbag. But Donald Trump is different. So some of the actions that have to be taken to rein in this criminal are going to be unprecedented. We didn't have anybody run up in the Capitol before. We didn't have anybody say that they're only going to accept the results of the election if they win. Yes, so a lot of this is unprecedented. But that's because we have allowed this clown to get into office. And now we're still dealing with the repercussions of it. And there's going to be more things that are going to come out. Over time, things are going to come out that he did. Oh, yes. They're going to come out. And I cannot wait. You have some of the Trump supporters, they are so freaking hilarious. I look at them. And they're so hilarious. They'll believe anything. Irene says that he and his followers would rather destroy the country. Not get his way. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Like just a baby. It's juvenile. It's juvenile. It is juvenile. So let's see. Here's a Trump supporter here. Stop it. They have nothing and nothing's going to happen to him. Let's bet $5,000 he won't be charged. Stop it. Let's bet. Even if he's not charged, right? You think that means he didn't do anything? Oh, Trump supporters are hilarious. Tell me what Biden doing right to America, sir. Stop it. We can talk about Biden on another day, but I have definitely criticized Joe Biden. I am not a fan of Joe Biden. I pray that he does not run again. Now, Joe Biden was able to here's the thing. Slow Joe Biden, not good, piece of crap, bad politician, tried many times to become president. The only reason he was able to become president, he's slow. I don't like him, but he was able to beat Donald Trump. He was able to beat your boy, right? Put me on your show. Let's debate it in person. Send me an email, djdiamondk@gmail.com. I mean, if you want to come on the show, you want to try to defend Donald Trump, sure. I don't have a problem with that. Biden is the only clown. Nothing's going to happen. And this is the thing. So he says that. So Trump has gotten away with a lot of stuff, but that does not mean that he's not guilty. He's gone through a lot of wives, right? One of his wives accused him of rape. I mean, it's just, it's amazing. Well, what's going on, Frankie? Also on Instagram saying Joe Biden is going to win again. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's how slow Donald Trump is. And Republicans on a whole, during the primary, right? You get out your base and that's fine. But during the general election, you need more than just the base. You need the majority of people to vote for you. And what Trump and his supporters have done is they have really shrunk the size of his base. So he's going to get less. Let's just pretend for a minute that it's Trump versus Biden again. Even less people are going to vote for Trump this time than voted for him the last time. He's going to lose again. Right? He's going to lose again. And here's the thing. Joe Biden's one of those things. The only person that he can beat ever is Donald Trump. Every other race, every other time he's tried to run for president, he's lost. But he beat your guy. Hey, Fred Carter, he beat your guy. Smashed him. And I think that's what upsets Donald Trump and one of his minions, Fred Carter, one of his minions over here, one of his online minions, smashed him, right? And check this out. The only reason that he became president, the only reason that Donald Trump became president was because James Comey's backwards, goofy ass started talking about some investigation about Hillary Clinton right before the election. He doesn't do that, and Trump would have lost to Hillary anyway. That's what would have happened. But Comey was an idiot, goofy idiot, and that's how you got that. That's how we got Trump, unfortunately. But that's not going to happen again. Trump had his run. His run is over. America is dealing with the aftermath, the nasty taste in Lady Liberty's mouth of the Trump presidency. Yeah. I had a whole bunch of other topics that I needed to get into. We do have to get out of here for the Big Bree is coming on. And what I'm going to do is I have a bunch of topics. So after Bree's show ends, the No Filter podcast ends, I will come back and get to the second half of my show. All right, so stay tuned. We're going to take a break and we'll come back with the No Filter podcast. Big Bree is up next. And so it is a lot. I need to get this out the way. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by City View Bar and Grill. City View is a family-friendly casual dining bar and restaurant providing high-quality food and good old-fashioned friendly service. At the City View Bar and Grill, you can live every hour like it's happy hour. The food is mouth-watering. The atmosphere is fun, energetic, and mature. Located at 6700 Security Boulevard in Gwen Oak, Maryland. It's the City View Bar and Grill. Stop in today or visit cityviewmd.com. All right, so as I said, we were getting ready for the No Filter podcast. Big Bree is coming up next. After her show ends, I will be back with the second part of today's show.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
On FireTV.com.